Welcome back to episode 59 of Off the Wall Podcast. Melo here, along with Matt and Kyle. Guys, we're getting closer to spring training, not quite there yet. Thankfully, though, we have some stuff to discuss about today. And this just popped into my brain just like 5 seconds ago. We didn't get to do this last time, but shout out to the UK. Shout out to the UK for giving us a couple listens over there. Appreciate it. Top 20.
That's right. We didn't know we had a fan base over there, but
Yes.
we appreciate it.
It's great to see.
Yes. We're global. We're global. We're everywhere. But moving on. We're gonna touch on WBC again. Like I said, you're gonna start hearing a lot of that soon. We're gonna talk about Dexter Fowler. Retired, officially announced his retirement this morning. So we'll have some thoughts about that. But first, you guys play MLB The Show, as do I. Probably a little too much, but we have a new cover athlete, Jazz Chisholm. And surprisingly, not a lot of people like it. What do you guys think?
I like Jazz. I love Jazz. Now, when it comes to mind of cover athletes and you look back at who has been the cover athletes in the past, does he quite fit that tier of players on the field so far? No, not quite. I mean, if we're going back through, we're going way back. Andrew McCutcheon will go. Ryan Howard was on the cover. Shohei Ohtani recently. Fernando Tatis. Judge has been on one. Bryce Harper has been on one. And just to go through and is he quite that tier of player necessarily? I would say not quite yet. Now, is he an incredible personality on and off the field and plays with a lot of swagger? Absolutely. So do I love this? Yeah, definitely. Would have I been okay with Julio Rodriguez getting it though too? Yeah, for sure. So I like it, but Julio, I would have been okay with him getting it too.
Don't forget Dodgers legend Yasiel Puig was on the cover at one point.
That's right.
Yeah, wow. This it didn't shock me, but I didn't agree with it at first, but now after it's been out for a little bit, I understand why MLB did it. It screams the whole growing the game thing, right? Jazz is one of the most, as Matt said, he's got a lot of swagger. He plays with a lot of electricity. That's just the kind of guy he is. But yeah, I mean, I personally wanted Julio on the cover just because I felt like he made more sense. He's more on that superstar level than Jazz. But as I thought about it, I'm not it's all right. I mean, I hope MLB really does attract more fans to this game because obviously baseball needs it. Especially with the younger fan base. You got football and basketball and you're competing with that. So if you put a guy on the cover of a video game who, plays with that swagger, who, kind of came from nothing in that story, like it Jazz fits it, and that's why I'm not upset about it.
Yeah, I'm not upset about it either, but I mean, I think Julio will get on it next year, especially if he has another great season.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, San Diego Studios kind of missed out because the Mariners have the All-Star game this year.
Yeah.
So, and you figure that he's probably going to be there in some capacity. But so that was the first thing that came to my mind when they didn't put him on the cover. But I think he'll get it in 24. But yeah, I mean that's the theme that they've been doing. Like you just said, Kyle, grow the game. Look, they put Tatis on 21. I know it
Yep.
doesn't look good now, but at the time it really did. They put Shohei Ohtani on it last year. That looks really good. So I think they're
Mhm.
just continuing the theme with Jazz Chisholm and don't have a problem with it. Like
And I mean,
go ahead, Matt.
we can say like all these other guys like Acuna, we could say Juan Soto, anybody there's a whole long list of people that you could say should be on or could be on. I'm not going to say that anybody's turning it down, but it's a possibility. Like, who knows? Maybe they don't want to do that, or maybe for whatever reason, San Diego Studios didn't ask them. Now that'd be a very big missight on their end, but like maybe they didn't want to. And people always say about Mike Trout, I'm not sure if he's actually able to because he's a cover athlete for some off-brand baseball
RBI
video
baseball,
game.
right?
Is it RBI?
Is
I
that
don't
it?
know which one it
I'm
is.
not sure.
But I
I'll
think
get on
It is one of them.
he already has rights with another company to be on their cover. So like Mike Trout, best player in the game, and he's never been on the cover of MLB The Show. So it's not always about who's the best player necessarily. So overall though, Jazz, I love that. And who also maybe sure one season of Julio and it was great and he won AL Rookie of the Year, but I mean, Madden has a bit of a history. Sometimes
Yeah.
I'm going back to Peyton Hillis, like one hit wonders. I mean, they don't really want to do that. Now, I'm not saying Julio's going to be a one hit wonder at all, but like Jazz has proved he's been in the league a couple years now, so maybe it's a more of a safe bet. And they, like Melo said, they can go with Julio next year.
Mike Trout was on MLB 9 innings, 22.
There
Okay.
you go.
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't hear that game until now, but
Yeah.
there you go.
So I don't know. For what it's worth, maybe he can't do it.
Maybe and listen, I saw a lot of complaining in the live stream. I saw a lot of complaining when we posted it yesterday. Let me just say one thing: you guys are still gonna spend the money and play the game,
Oh
okay?
yeah.
You're not gonna take the year off because maybe your favorite player or Julio Rodriguez didn't get on the cover. You're still gonna play it, and yeah, exactly. You're still gonna play it because you play it for the fun modes and stuff. You don't play it just for the cover. It probably would help some people, but you're still gonna buy the game.
I will say I'm hoping finally that there was rumors last year. I really hope that collector's edition Derek Jeter. It's gotta happen, right? It am I the only one on this?
I thought he
It's
was gonna be in the game last year.
so did I. I was
I got
very disappointed.
I
But
gotta stop falling for those Twitter accounts, man.
oh man, they suck.
Yeah. Let me a PSA to all those people out there. You guys are getting real good with photoshopping stuff, so let's crank it down a little bit.
Well, in some cases, but in other cases, like we posted a couple days ago, like bunch of designs people threw out for MLB The Show covers, and those are actually pretty high quality. Most of the ones that I've found across Twitter and other places on the internet. So I personally like the Jazz cover that I found better than the one that they came up with, but whatever.
Yeah, but listen, we got past a cover reveal. Now the most thing I'm interested in, what new legends are coming into the game, because they always seem to sprinkle in one or two. Now, definition of legend between me and San Diego Studios might have two different meanings. Dontre Willis, I'm looking right at you, but excited for MLB The Show 23, and I definitely will be playing on a PS5 this year. It will not be a PS4.
Hey,
Yes, so excited for that. But
I
go
was
ahead, Kyle.
introduced to the stadium creation this past MLB The Show, and man, it does not disappoint. It's pretty. There's some wild designs on there, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, yeah, and I can't wait to get my hands on that stadium creator and make my crazy ass stadium. But moving on, I guess. Dexter Fowler, uh, retired today. I gotta say, I think I've seen that Game 7 home run clip 100 times today from 2016, but rightfully so. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but happy retirement.
yeah, good player, World Series champion. He was
Rockies legend.
on a lot of fun Cardinals teams, and then sort of floated around. But I guess he had some injury issues in the end, near the end of his career, didn't he?
I believe he did, yes.
Yeah. I don't know if I don't know if it like cut his career short necessarily because he played for a while, but yeah, 2008 to 2021. He only played 7 games for the Angels last year. So I think that may have been injury, but one-time All-Star in 2016. Good player.
Yeah, and listen, he's gonna be he's gonna be beloved by Cub fans for the rest of their lives just because he was on that team that helped them win their first World Series in over a century. So Dexter Fowler will definitely be remembered. Kyle, you got anything?
I mean, you guys pretty much wrapped it up there. I mean, Dexter Fowler was always a player who I admired personally. I always liked watching him play. He was never the flashiest, he was never the best on the team, but he was always there. He played with grit, he played with heart. I mean, he was a guy that you want on your team no matter what. And as you said, that 2016 team was special. It was completely magical, something out of a storybook. Dexter Fowler being a part of it, it was cool to see. So congrats on retirement, Dexter.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, I guess we can continue to plow ahead here. World Baseball Classic. There was a report that came out last week before we get into the other stuff. Cunha not playing. Was very disappointed to see that. Very disappointed to see that. But what was the other thing that they what was the other big storyline? I can't think of it off the top of my head.
So some of the league owners, MLB league owners, own the teams and then in turn own the rights to the players during the MLB season. May not want their players playing in the World Baseball Classic, supposedly. And this is team members from which team was it specifically? Was it Dominican or was it
The
Puerto Rico?
Dominica.
Dominican.
Okay. Dominican. So I don't know what's up with that. Like we went over it last week or 2 weeks ago that the Dominican team is loaded. So there's definitely a lot of superstars. And I completely understand owners, they don't want their superstar players getting injured. But I mean, come on, they're all down there playing in Venezuelan league or the Dominican league or any of the leagues down there anyway. And you're going to get your players showcased on one of the brightest stages. This only happens every 4 years. Why not? Why not let them play? Baseball, come on, you don't get injured that much compared to, football. I guess you could say football. There's a lot more injuries, I would say, in football than in baseball. So, personally, come on, just let them play.
Kyle.
I agree with Matt on this. It's gonna suck if that's the case because for the people who are in attendance or even just following along with the World Baseball Classic, those are the guys you want to see. No matter who you're supporting, no matter what country you're going for, no matter what country you're from, those are the guys you want to see on the field. And if the owners are going to pull them back, I mean, I do understand both sides, but as Matt was saying, you're going to showcase your best players on one of the biggest stages that only happens every 4 years. So being able to showcase them will not only grow the game of baseball, but will grow your team. It's those players that draw the fans, that draw the attendance, everything else. So why not?
Yeah, and this can be another part of growing the game. And the Dodgers actually, in 2017, the last time they had it, Julio Urias wanted to pitch for Team Mexico, but he was coming off a big injury, and the Dodgers said no. But they did say the next time it comes around, we'll definitely let you do it. And they stood by their word, and he's on Team Mexico this year. So this is not the first time it's happening. I'm sure it's just I don't think it's ever been made public like this, but let him play because we all want to see it. And these owners too have to remember that they take this seriously. Playing for their country, representing their country, they take it very seriously, and it means a lot. I know it's hard in the U.S. because we have other stuff. We have all the major sports. We have other things, but in those countries like the DR and Puerto Rico, when a big baseball tournament comes around like this, it means the world to them. It's almost like the
Yeah.
World Cup, kind of.
Yeah, I think that's a fair comparison to make. And two more things. Like you said with Julio Urias, that makes sense. Like if a team's like, hey, you just got injured, you're coming off, maybe A, you're not ready yet, or B, we don't want you taking a risk here to jeopardize like a lengthy part of your career if you're going to have to take a long time to recover. That makes sense. And another thing, I'm not sure technically the league owners can not let them play. I guess it would just be a frowned upon situation because I don't think they actually have any control over whether they can play or not. But it's just like, hey, I mean, you definitely want to listen to the people who are writing your checks at the end of the day. But when it comes down to it, maybe it's just a matter of they won't be too happy with you if you do this. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm surprised that they're not pushing for more players to play in the WBC. I mean, obviously, I understand why, but this is a whole nother conversation. But don't you almost feel like they should put maybe incentives? Like if you do this in the World Baseball Classic, you get something, or because it's like I don't even do they get paid for that participating? Because I know they don't. Because I know they don't get paid till the start of the season. But
That's a good question.
I don't think do they
I
get
don't
paid
know.
for this?
I'm not sure.
But we'll ask him that. You getting paid for this? But that's a conversation for another day. Okay, just to kind of I guess finish off here. I don't know if you guys have anything. Jeff McNeil, welcome back to the Mets. And Matt, you said it last week. Mets got a steal.
Yeah. I mean, it is it 5 years, something like
50
that.
million. 4 years, 50 million.
4 years, 50 million. That's so cheap for Jeff. He's an all-star of the past 2 years, I want to say. I know at least this year, and he led the league in batting average this past year too. I mean, come on, this guy's a steal for that price, and to lock him up for another 4 or 5 years. That's awesome. I mean, Batty's in my division, and seems that I got the worst combination of best front office with the Braves and then owner with the most money / willing to spend the most money with the Mets. So not great for my division, but yeah, good for the Mets.
Yeah. I love Jeff McNeil. He has always been one of my favorite players. I think he's extremely underrated. I mean, I do know that he's been getting more and more recognition. But I still don't think he gets what he deserves. And him and Yandy Diaz, obviously, he also just signed an extension with the Rays. I think those two are very arguably the two most underrated players in the league. And when it comes to Jeff McNeil, he can do kind of everything. He plays superb defense and he can play multiple positions. And he is a huge contact bat and he'll hit for extremely high average and he'll pop out a few homers. That's exactly what you want. And for a second base position, that is kind of like, I don't want to take away from the talent that is at second base, but there's not as much talent as there is at other positions. And when you can lock up a guy like Jeff McNeil for this cheap, the Mets by far had the best offseason of any team in the league. And it just goes to show that, Steve Cohen is a blessing for Mets fans. It's the Yankees of old. Sadly, I have to say that. But good for Mets fans. I mean, that's exactly what you want out of an owner. And getting this kind of deal for Jeff McNeil, it reminds me of the Brandon Nimmo extension that they just had. It's two extremely underrated moves, and I think it sets the Mets up perfectly. And they still have, I mean, Steve Cohen's going to try to lock up Pete Alonso next. So it saves them at least a little bit of money to throw more at Alonso, but we'll see. Great move.
Yeah, very, very good move. And last year at the All-Star game, Jazz Chisholm got hurt, couldn't play in the game, got replaced by Jeff McNeil. I know everybody wanted to see Jazz out here. I know putting McNeil in was not the sexy pick, but it was the correct one. And he
Yes.
continued to show that the second half of the season and even into the postseason. So good for him, good for the Mets. I'm sure he's going to have a good 2023 too.
Yeah, he is a two-time All-Star. It wasn't 2021. It was his second year in the league, so want to clear that up. But yeah, career 307 hitter. You think of how many people hit 300 in the league right now. There's not that many. And the Mets just locked up one guy who can for next couple of years, so
Don't mean to change the subject real quick, but Melo, your Dodgers just announced that they have agreed to terms with Tony Gosselin on a 2-year contract. There you go,
Instant
man.
instant reaction to this. I mean, listen, we're kind of thin on the pitching right now. So I'm not the biggest Tony Gonsolin fan. I was last year. Listen, I wanted him to win the Cy Young after the first half of the season. But um listen, it's a good move. I said this to you. I think I said this to Bobby and Matt a couple weeks ago, but the Dodgers, the Kings had like a special Dodgers night, and this is when they were going through arbitration with Tony Gonsolin, and it was so messed up to me because it's like, out of all the players you could have sent, you sent the one guy that you're in negotiation with to represent the team. So then I went to his Instagram post the next morning, as he posted, "Oh, look, I'm at the Kings game," and I said, "It's a cold world we're living in," and he actually liked that comment, and he knew exactly what I was talking about. He knew exactly what I was talking about, and I'm glad he got it, and he appreciated it. But good for Tony Gonsolin. Welcome back. I guess let's run it back. Let's see it. Let's see that first half again.
yeah.
Hey,
We need it.
anytime that you can get a starting pitcher of his caliber for a 2-year deal making 6.65 million, I mean, you can't go wrong with that at all.
No.
So, yeah.
Any final thoughts, guys? I think we covered everything.
I think so.
Yeah.
How many more?
I
Go
got to
ahead,
give a
Matt.
shout out to the Eagles, though. At least my
Oh,
football. This isn't a football podcast, but we're riding high, going to the Super Bowl, baby. So you tune back in for 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, and we'll hear my Super Bowl reaction. Hopefully, it's a good one.
Let's go,
Sing it.
Chiefs.
Sing it, Kyle.
No.
Fly, Eagles. No,
Eagles
just kidding.
fly.
I'm a Giants
Yeah,
fan,
here
man.
we
Why
go.
would I ever say that? Come
I know.
on now.
I know. Well, okay, since we're on this topic, I might as well ask you, how did you feel about the Empire State Building?
Don't get me started, man. Don't do it. Don't do it. Just we're gonna leave it there because I have
yeah.
some choice words for that admin.
You know what? Next week, we'll at the end of this podcast, we'll give out our Super Bowl predictions.
There we go.
We'll give it out because
Yeah.
we already know what Matt thinks. It's gonna be 40-10 Chiefs. I mean Eagles.
Whoa. Okay. Yeah. There you go.
I mean,
I like that prediction, Melo. I like that a lot.
yeah, but spring training's coming right after the Super Bowl. I think pitchers and catchers report. I think that week, if not the next week. But we'll be back. Episode 60 next week.
There we
Oh, boy.
go.
Keep getting up. We're getting closer. We'll see you next time. Adios.
See ya.
Later.